There's a lesson here, I feel. There really is, but I just can't put my finger on it. Bet on yourself? Don't bet on yourself? Don't bite the hand that feeds you? I don't know, we can go over all that as this video goes on. But today we're going over to the Ottawa Senators. No, not the Ottawa Senators. Oh my goodness. I am way off there. Today we're going over to the Anaheim Ducks, excuse me. And we're talking about the defenseman on that team that has been involved the most in trade conversations. And it's one that, as we said, it kind of teaches you a few things here and there. But we'll get into this as it goes on. Today we're talking about John Klingberg and an article written by Frank Saravalli on dailyfaceoff.com finally revealing to us the trade price that Klingberg is going to cost to get moved this season. Now, Klingberg was already a brand new addition to the Anaheim Ducks. He was added on as a free agent earlier this offseason, but he's 30 years old, he's right-handed, 6'3", 185, and he is not the same 60-point caliber defenseman that he was once for the Dallas Stars when he was a number one guy over there. This season, Klingberg has 8 points in 17 games played. He's on pace for 39 points over the span of 82, which is not bad. Definitely not bad. But when you acknowledge what exactly the context is behind this player and his story, it makes things very interesting when you try to project what happens next. Klingberg was a Dallas Star for a while, and as we had noted, he was a very good defenseman for that team in terms of producing numbers. His 67-point year in 2017-18 comes as the highlight, but even as far back as last season, he had 47 points in 74 games played. The season before that, 36 points in only 53 games played. Klingberg was an offensive stud, and the Stars had the opportunity to lock him up. They offered him a long-term deal, and he said no. He said no. He said he thought he could get more on the free agent market, which is why he went to the free agent market by the time the July 1st deadline rolled around. But he didn't get signed. In fact, no team went out there and signed Klingberg to a contract that was sort of within the realm of his own expectations of being 7 years long and making X amount of dollars because he's a long-term, very good offensive defenseman. He instead waited till the very end and got a contract from the Anaheim Ducks where he signed it. It was 1 year long at $7 million per season. He'll try this whole process all over again next year, and he'll use this Anaheim Ducks opportunity as a stat-boosting, number-boosting kind of year. Because the Ducks aren't good. They haven't won a game in regulation yet, which is kind of mind-blowing to say. But Klingberg is there. Because Klingberg is a rental of a situation over here, there's a lot of speculation saying that he's probably just going to get traded by the trade deadline. He'll go to a playoff team, he'll help them out in the postseason, and Anaheim can get some assets. It's honestly a pretty easy to understand formula here because the Ducks are a bad team and they've got a guy who's on for 1 year. Trade him away at the deadline, get some draft picks, and you'll be on your way because you're a rebuilding on the fly type of team. This is where Frank Saravalli comes in, and we read this article on dailyfaceoff.com from 2 days ago, 6 potential trade fits for the Toronto Maple Leafs in order to replace Jake Muzzin. If you go over to Klingberg and read what's written about over here, he is the very first option. With Muzzin's injury, the Leafs have the ability to jump the market and acquire Klingberg. It's been a miserable start for the rebuilding Ducks, who are tied for the fewest points in the league. Klingberg is a strong skater and defender, a really well-rounded player who would instantly improve your power play. The idea behind signing Klingberg to a 1-year deal in late July as he lingered on the free agent market was to see if there was a fit, but also realize that he is a potential flippable asset. Klingberg realized that as well, which is why he has a full no-trade clause in place until January 1st. With the Ducks retaining half on Klingberg, his contract would fit neatly into the Leafs' LTIR cushion, and if the cap does increase, it may not be out of the realm of possibility that the Leafs could re-sign him. But the acquisition cost won't be cheap. Klingberg will be fetching a first-round pick, plus more on the rental market. He is also the best all-round defenseman available. Now, there was a little bit of criticism that I had seen about that last line. oh, he'll be fetching a first-round pick, and he's also one of the best all-around D-men available, because apparently, according to Anaheim Ducks fans, Klingberg has not really been all too great. Now, as we had noted earlier with the numbers, his point production is not terrible, but he has had better years in the past. He's on pace for 39 points, as we had said, which would be a decline from the last few seasons' worth of play. Also, though, there's been a lot of criticism about John Klingberg and his defensive game from this season alone. The Anaheim Ducks are a bad team, and it's not really like Klingberg is doing his part in helping them get out of whatever slumps they appear to be in. Klingberg might have a reputation around the NHL of being an all-around defenseman who's got offensive capabilities, but this season in Anaheim, he hasn't shown off that, and if you trade for this guy and you give a big haul in return, you're doing that based off of reputation, not because of what he's done so far. Now, this is also why I say this could be a pretty good lesson for NHL teams, because if the Anaheim Ducks do end up getting what Saravalli labels here as a first-round pick plus more, thus revealing the trade price for this guy in the market, all of a sudden, that's a pretty good investment. Because if you sign this guy to a one-year deal, $7 million, on one of the last days of free agency, and you're able to just easily flip him away for a first-round pick and more, that in and of itself is a big win. I don't care if the Anaheim Ducks are that far down in the standings. I don't care if John Klingberg is that bad on the Ducks, but if you sign a guy, you sign him for a season and you trade him away for a first, that in and of itself is a win. So this is kind of also what I wanted to talk about too, because Klingberg really did try to bet on himself on the free agent market. He rejected the big offer from Dallas. He signed a one-year deal. But all the other teams in the NHL, they all had the option to sign this guy to whatever deal permitted, but nobody bit except for Anaheim. If it's some other team that signs John Klingberg to a one-year deal, maybe let's say the team that signs Klingberg to a one-year deal isn't even as bad as Anaheim is right now. Maybe Klingberg is a bit better with that brand new team that he is on instead. All of a sudden, that's a first-round pick and more that expands to a little bit past a first-round pick and more. Maybe a first-round pick and a second and another lower-tier prospect, for example. There was an opportunity for NHL teams to really cash in and grab whatever it is that's free on the market, but nobody took it except for Anaheim. So I think that there was a pretty good reason for any NHL team to go out there and sign Klingberg. It's just, of course, you have multiple teams that wouldn't have been able to make it work because he's costing a lot of money, but still, at the end of the day, if you had the money, you had the opportunity to get some good stuff, and I think Anaheim is capitalizing on that, even if John Klingberg has not been the best for them this season. So, ton of the comments thoughts about the idea of John Klingberg and the trade price being revealed. Do you think a first-round pick and a bit more is good enough for what he has been this season? If you're an Anaheim Ducks fan, then please let me know in the comments all your thoughts about this, because I know he hasn't been the best for you this season. But I feel like everybody should be having the same opinion here. Oh, sure, he might be bad, but if he gets us a first-round pick, I don't care. Hey, be as bad as you want, as long as it gets us a draft pick. But of course, if you're not an Anaheim fan, then let me know your thoughts as well about this idea, because a first-round pick and a little bit more for a $7 million one-year guy that's on pace for about 30-40 points, that isn't great defensively, but who has a reputation of being very good because of his past, what exactly is the price there, do you think? Ton in the comments your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Trolls 99, and bye.